on those movies.
Yeah. But they were getting, I will say, the one positive is the better that Marvel does with it, the better merchandising.
Sure.
They're going to make a lot of money back that way, because Sony doesn't own any of the merchandising rights to Spider-Man. So anytime you see a shirt with him on there, that's going straight to Marvel. And the better those movies do, because basically it's kind of like Star Wars Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was a feat in filmmaking, and the second one George Lucas didn't have his hands on so much.
Yeah.
And it was a really good story. But the third one was a 2.5 hour long toy commercial, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It wrapped up the trilogy or whatever. But basically these movies are that too, like the Spider-Man movies and whatever. And they're really good. I'm not saying they're not really good, but the better that Marvel has more to lose if they're not good, because they're not going to make their money off of their toys. And toys do almost as good, if not a little better than the film sales, ticket sales.
So Marvel tried to get more money, and Sony said, "Fuck you, no. You can make 5%, or you can get the fuck out of here."
Well, see, that's the thing I've heard. I mean, of course, everything is like TBD. No one knows. I've heard that Sony was like, "We'll give you 35%."
Well, I hadn't heard that.
And Marvel was like, "No, I'll see if whenever you're sharing a little opinion, if I can pull up that article so I can confirm that." But that was just, it's one of those things too where now there's so much stuff going on Twitter and everyone's freaking out. It could have been wrong. But I'd heard that Sony countered with a 35% offer, and they were still like, "No, we won't take it. We'll hit the road."
Yeah.
So who's to blame?
Well, that's what it's hard for me to point my finger at either of them, because I get both sides. I think, I completely understand Marvel being like, "Hey, we deserve more money." Disney doesn't need more money, but if you're putting a lot of work in, and they kind of revived Spider-Man as a character. Yeah, you can get more money, but also Sony is saying, "Hey, this is the biggest movie we've ever made. We made so much money off of this. Why would we share that with you?" I don't know. Corporate bullshit makes me really sad. It's not about the audience anymore. It's about their wallets.
The money. Yeah, so there was a Forbes article that talked about, this is where I got that number. I don't want to say that it was 35%. This is where I got that number. Mm-hmm. So it might have been that they were like, "No, you can take the 5%. But Disney is supposedly, that's the next offer.
Okay.
Which, if I were Sony, I mean, I don't know. I hope that Sony, because I think that Sony loves the character. I really do think that Sony loves the character. I think that they've had a rough go at making them, because despite my love for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, that was not in the modern age of superhero stories.
Right.
So the fact that the trilogy kind of faltered at the end was not because Sony doesn't know how to do a Spider-Man character. It's that Sony wanted, and this is interesting too, to kind of get into that trilogy, but Sony wanted to introduce Venom, and Sam Raimi said, "I don't really understand."
Yeah, he didn't want to do Venom. Yeah,
So
I recently heard that too.
That was Sony's bad, but Sony was just trying to introduce one of the most popular villains. Sam Raimi just didn't have the capability or I don't know. He just didn't understand the character. And if you're a filmmaker and you don't understand the character you're telling,
then don't do it.
Then don't do it. But that was before the age of modern superhero films. And then with Amazing Spider-Man, it just faltered because we'd seen it before, and the villains that they picked were just not optimal. I think it has some of the best swinging through the city scenes. I really do.
I think that's one of the only things I can give Amazing Spider-Man is that those POV city web slinging shit was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun. The suit was odd too in that film.
The big old eyes.
Yeah, the second one was even worse, but I think that's a Jamie Foxx thing, not a.
Well, those movies are all just
and the characters.
I mean,
it was just bad. But what I'm trying to say is that Sony just hasn't had the best luck with the character, but they really do love telling the story. I think they're just bad at it.
Yeah, especially fucking. Oh my god, yeah. why was Spider-Man trying to kill someone? That's all I'm going to say.
In the first one?
An Amazing Spider-Man, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
It was just weird.
Not a good move. Not a good play.
And he had like a weird accent.
Yeah, because he was a British guy trying to do an American accent.
Trying to do an American accent of someone trying to do a New York accent. There's just too many acting things going on.
Yeah, too layered. I will say, one of my most favorite Spider-Man moments is in The Amazing Spider-Man, like on film.
What is it?
It's the moment when he has just gotten torn to shit by the lizard, and he goes back and talks with Gwen Stacy. If somebody had made that as a fan film, just that moment, I would have loved it, because that was just one of the. I don't know. I just really like that moment. Just giving that film the props that I can, which is very little.
I like the lizard.
It was fine. I
like the idea of the lizard.
I hate dorky shit. I mean, like, obviously we're talking nerdy movies anyways, but whenever those cranes turned out, I was just like,
when the whole police force was like, yeah, we'll help you out.
I was just not I was not very pleased.
Yeah, I think currently that Sony is a little big for their britches right now.
Yeah.
Because here's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't think that Into the Spider-Verse did great, like box office wise.
I mean, it won an Oscar.
No, I'm saying I don't think that it was like a huge like money thing. It was just such a good movie. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so they're like, "Hey,
those numbers, baby.
We made Into the Spider-Verse, which everyone fucking loves, and then they do Spider-Man 2, Far From Home, and it breaks $1 billion."
Yeah.
So they're like, "Hey, we're gonna we can do this." And also, Venom did really well for a mess of a movie that was.
Yeah, I mean, Into the Spider-Verse was made on a $90 million budget.
Okay.
Pretty standard for an animated film. And it grossed $375 million.
Okay.
Which, for an animated film, is primo. Because 95% of the time, the reason animated films are made as animated films is because it's cheap.
Yeah.
And now, I think that it was a good film, but, it wouldn't have worked live action. If they had tried to tell that story live action... and of course, I think we would have lost some of the cartoonness. We definitely wouldn't have had Spider-Ham. They wouldn't have okayed that for live action. But that story just wouldn't have worked, I don't think, as a live action piece.
Yeah, I think it's very tough to put multiple Spider-Men on the big screen.
Yeah.
That's, there's a lot of explaining you got to do there in like a live action form. And also, it gets messy really fast.
And, Fisk, Kingpin, he wouldn't have been a
big boy
as big. Yeah, there was the only, and I know it was a cartoon, and I can't really nitpick because it's a cartoon. But when that final fight scene in Into the Spider-Verse where he's inside the subway, and I'm like, you couldn't fit inside the subway.
He just turned sideways.
Is he paper thin? Is he only big on when you're looking at him at the front?
He disappears. That's his superpower. He disappears on the side.
Folds down and he has to shuffle sideways everywhere. Ugh.
I didn't know that you were so worked up about that.
It's just so stupid. I don't know. I'm just like, be better. Okay, I'm not going to keep ranting about this. I think that's like the script supervisor in me that's just like, I see that door, and I know that the audience sees that door, and inside their head, they know, as well as I, he doth not fit.
I'd never even thought about it.
It's your subconscious. It's in your subconscious.
I said, yeah, that motherfucker can walk in a Subway. Why not?
It looks like he eats a lot of Subway, but...
He's just a big boy. He's got to be strong. He's got to be strong without having superpowers.
Yeah. I mean, he was a fun villain. But yeah, I just don't think that Sony has the wherewithal to handle the character. I do think that Marvel's asking for a lot until they can make them an offer. Which I think I sent you an article with this is Sony said, yeah, you can have him. You can have him $10 billion.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Marvel said no.
Listen here.
Last I heard.
Kevin Feige, I know you're listening. Pay the fucking money.
What's up, Fi Guy? We know you're listening.
That would be the greatest thing that anyone would ever do for Spider-Man. Oh my God! Why the fuck would they not do that? How much money does Disney have?
A lot.
I will kickstart this if it's what it takes.
$10 billion.
That's interesting because I would have died on the hill that Sony would never get rid of Spider-Man. Like, would never sell him back.
Yeah, but I mean, think about all the films you can make with $10 billion.
Yeah, but think about all the money that you're going to make, even with a shitty Spider-Man movie. People are going to go see that, and it's going to make money.
I don't know. I think that they would have tapped out at a certain point.
I mean, I won't.
I guess there are probably a lot of people out there like you. I mean, I feel the same way about Hellboy. Mm-hmm. I rewatched that film the other day, and it's good.
I haven't seen it.
I hate that the critics just didn't like it so much.
I don't think critics liked it because this iteration of Hellboy can't have sex with humans.
That is what David Harbour said, and I don't know why he even needed to say it.
Because that's the most important thing we need to know.
Can this character have sex with other characters?
Mm-hmm.
I guess you're right. I mean, I know I don't watch a movie, and that's my first thought. You know,
you're not watching movies, right?
It's definitely my second or third thought.
Okay.
But it's not always my first thought.
Your first thought is, can he fit through that door?
Can this guy fit through that door? I don't know. Can he?
Door too small.
You tell me.
Get this guy a bigger door.
I know that King Kong couldn't fit. Well, from Kong Skull Island, I'm not rehashing that argument with you because we all know that monkey was too big.
No, dude. We can do this on maybe we'll do another Master Debaters episode.
Yeah.
And talk about how the monkey was perfectly sized.
No. No. I want to start fighting about it right now, but I know you have more to say about Spider-Man. I don't want to take your limelight from you. Keep talking about that web slinging.
Here's what
friendly neighborhood.
Well, we can talk about the newest news.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about last night.
Was this the article I sent you?
Yeah, that Sony is open to letting him rejoin the MCU as long as Marvel will allow him to be in Venom movies.
Yeah.
Which, like,
how do you feel? How are you feeling?
I think I'm cool with anything that gets him back, but I think that Venom 2 would be too soon. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that would establish a weird precedent. Now, as a moviegoer, I can suspend my disbelief. And if we're seeing Spider-Man and Venom on screen together, I know that I'm not going to see Venom, with Thor or the Hulk. And that's okay. But I'm cool with it. I don't think that it can happen by Venom 2. I think throwing that on Andy Serkis, if they want to continue for the Venom films to do well, because even though Venom wasn't very well received by critics, it did pretty well at the box office.
It made a shit ton of money.
Did very well at the box office. And I think that Andy Serkis loves mocap. He loves the challenge. He loves telling stories. And I think he's going to do a really phenomenal job. But when you throw, like, a character that has a 5-film established foundation, like, I don't think that... I think that's too much. Let Tom Hardy, let Venom evolve in this next film, and then get those guys together in Venom 3.
Yeah, for sure. I just don't... Yeah, it's not established yet. We really don't fucking know who Venom is, who Eddie Brock is yet. And also, Carnage is hard as fuck to do.
I'm so ready to see Woody Harrelson do it, though.
I am too, as long as they take that wig off.
That was pretty bad.
Because you're supposed to be scared of Cletus Cassidy, and I can't be scared of anyone with hair like that.
He looked like Carrot Top. It was like Carrot Top if Carrot Top was a serial killer.
Especially if the one line you're going to give him is the cheesiest fucking thing you've ever written in your life.